This video, I will be discussing about force. In this slide, we can see the basic definition of force. The basic definition of force is a force is a push or a pull upon an object resulting from the object's interaction with another object. That is, whenever there is an interaction between two objects, there is a force upon each of the objects. When the interaction ceases, the two objects no longer experience the force. Forces only exist as a result of an interaction. The unit of force is Newton. 1 Newton is defined as the force required to accelerate a body of mass 1 kilogram by 1 meter per second square. Force is a vector quantity. That is, force has got magnitude as well as direction. Now, example. In this figure, a body is pushed along the surface of a table. As we can see, the body only comes into motion when the force of push is greater than the frictional force between the body and the surface of the table. The frictional force always is acting opposite to the direction of the push. So when the force of push exceeds the frictional force, the body is pushed along the direction. Now, types of forces based on the contact or non-contact. That is based on the interaction between the bodies. If these bodies are physically in contact or physically they are not in contact. Contact forces. These are the major contact forces. That is frictional force. Frictional force we have already seen in the previous figure. That is, the frictional force is the force which opposes motion along the surface of a body. Then there is tension force. Tension force is the force that is experienced along a string. That is, if we suspend a body by a string, then the body exerts a force on the string, which is called by tension force. Then normal force. Normal force is defined as the force which balances the body resting on another surface. Then there is air resistance force. That is, air resistance force is a special type of frictional force which is exerted by air when a body moves through air. Then there is applied force. That is the force that is applied, as seen in the previous example where we have applied a force that is pushed the body. Then spring force, that is the force exerted by the spring. Then action and distance forces, that is, these are the non-contact forces where the bodies are not in physically not in contact with each other. that is gravitational force. Gravitational force. Then electric force. It is the force exerted by charged bodies. Magnetic force is the force exerted between charged bodies that which are magnetically charged. For example, force exerted between two magnets. The attraction or repulsion force exerted between two magnets. That comes under magnetic force. Now, balanced forces. What do you mean by balanced forces? Balanced forces are forces acting in opposite direction on an object and equal in size. That is, there is a balance and the net result of these two forces will be zero. The net force of these two opposite the acting forces will be zero. Anytime there is a balance force on an object, the object stays still. That is, the object will be in a state of uniform motion, or it will continue to stay in a state of rest. In this figure, it is shown that an object A is resting on a surface. Here, two opposite forces are acting on the body. That is, the surface pushes the upward on the object and gravity pulls downward on the object. These two forces are equal and hence the net force is zero, and hence this object is at rest. Now, unbalanced forces. When balanced forces act on an object at rest, the object will not move. But if you push against a wall, the wall pushes back with an equal but opposite force. Then the net force is zero. Hence the wall doesn't move. But there are forces that cause a change in the motion of an object. These are known as unbalanced forces. In this figure, the object is pulled across the surface. The surface exerts a frictional force in the opposite direction. The object will be in a state of rest as long as the net force is zero. But when the net force becomes greater than zero, it will move in the direction in which it is pulled. That is when the forces become unbalanced, the state of motion of the object changes. Thus, we have discussed some of the basic concepts regarding forces. If you have got any doubts, you can always comment in the comment section below this video. Thank you.